the new article in Wall Street Journal, it says Trump briefed on all-out war options in Iran, but he decided to stick with talks. And it seems that they're still considering getting back to the war. That's why he's getting these sort of briefings. And here is what J.D. Vance said in his recent interview on Ben Shapiro's podcast. What is your understanding about, because there are people who are arguing even with MOU. We know that MOU is some sort of roadmap. It's not something, it doesn't bring any sort of commitment on it, on both sides. But the argument is basically what J.D. Vance just said. The United States is preparing, is trying to deal with those economic issues, and right now they're going to get back maybe right after the midterm elections or even before. What is your understanding when you see these sort of reports on Wall Street Journal, the way J.D. Vance, which many people argue he's the guy who tries to negotiate, who tries to find some alternative to Washington, and see they talk this way?
Well, first of all, you need to understand that the United States is agreement incapable. There is no MOU. J.D. Vance just said there is no MOU because the MOU isn't a timeout. Did you read the MOU as a timeout? I didn't read the MOU as a timeout. The MOU is supposed to be a ceasefire that brings about a 60-day period of discussions that brings about a total cessation of hostilities. That's what J.D. Vance just said, is there is no end of war. This is just buying time so that we can refill the oil, and then we're going to go right back to it. So why the hell is Iran negotiating? Okay, the MOU is null and void. Iran should be blowing the crap out of America right now because the war is still on. Annihilate the American bases. Take Israel off the face of the map. If you don't, then you're just playing this game. That means that Iran is playing the game as well. And this is what I've said all along. I said that both sides are playing the game here. Because while the United States is refilling its oil tanks, Iran's recharging its economy and also getting its military back up, rebuilding, et cetera. But Trump did not get briefed on all-out war plan. There is no all-out war plan with Iran. We already did the all-out war plan. We lost. What else can we do? Bomb them again? With what? Weapons we don't have? Invade them with divisions that don't exist? It's not as though we've been flowing, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of troops into the region, stockpiling munitions and fuel and other equipment necessary for a long, extended ground campaign. We don't have that ability. All we have is air ability, and that ability has been, significantly reduced because of the expenditure of munitions we can't replace. So right now, Trump is just buying time until the midterms. That's all this is about. This is about political buying time. He's a liar. He's a charlatan. He's a fraud. He's Donald Trump. Everybody should have known that. The Iranians know that. But if you know that going in, then you adjust accordingly as well. This means that Iran is not just sitting on its hands. Iran is strengthening its military capacity, and Iran is strengthening its economy. The last time I checked, it was Iran that got a whole bunch of oil tankers out of the Persian Gulf into the open sea for going to market. They've sold a lot of oil. They're making a lot of money. They're raising funds. This is the reality. The reality is that at the end of the day, if Iran isn't willing to shut the Strait of Hormuz permanently until they have a actual peace treaty, this is what Iran's going to get. Because all Trump is doing is playing stupid games, really stupid, dishonest games. But hey, we're talking about the nation that was negotiating with Iran about, resolving the nuclear problem when they attacked, not once, but twice. So this is just par for the course. The United States can't be trusted, and every nation in the world should be watching this. Russia, you can't make a deal with America because it's not a deal. America will say one thing, but the MOU says that we've committed to something else. We haven't committed to anything except recharging the oil tank. That's it.
Yeah. When, in your opinion, let's assume he's considering all-out war. Is that going to bring, I think the only difference they can bring to the battlefield is going to be ground invasion, which is something they haven't done before. They talk about it, about Hark Island. We had Keith Kellogg talking about it. General Keane on Fox News talking about it. And basically their argument is if we can capture Harg Island or some islands in the southern part of Iran, that would be a huge influence, not only on Iranian economy, but also on the Strait of Hormuz. We can basically control this strait. And let's assume his main objective is going to be that. Is that achievable militarily?
No. I mean, we might be able to flood the zone and get some troops in there to temporarily occupy a Harg Island, but then what? We've set up a Dien Bien Phu type situation where we have people in a small little place that's going to get pounded into the dust by Iranian missiles that we can't interdict. We're going to try and push an air envelope over the island. We're going to lose aircraft. And eventually we'll have to withdraw our troops from the island. Plus, I don't think we can take the island. Where are we going to get the troops? How are they going to get there? People haven't thought this thing through. When you deploy tens of thousands of troops, they have to land at an airfield. I think Iran will know what airfield that is almost immediately upon the arrival of the first airplane. That airfield will become inoperable, attacked constantly. Any troops that have been offloaded have to go to a troop assembly point that becomes a target. How do you assemble troops and get them prepared, get the equipment ready to operate when they're being attacked by missiles constantly? Steve Kelly doesn't know what he's talking about. None of them know what they're talking about. This is just stupidity, real stupid. I mean, if they presented this at a command and staff college course, they'd be fired for incompetence. They'd be relieved. They'd be kicked out because it just shows absolute lack of military acumen. Logistics. Where are you going to get the logistics for this ground combat operation they want to wage? We're talking about two Army officers that have no idea what an amphibious operation is, because that's where they're going to drop paratroopers on Harg Island and come in with air assault. Think Grenada. Ask Delta Force in the 160th what it was like to launch a helicopter attack on a lightly defended airfield. They got the shit knocked out of them. We come into Harg Island, we'll lose every single helicopter. Koh Tang Island is, again, 11 helicopters went in, 8 got damaged or shot down. 3 were left heavily damaged. Guys, history speaks for itself. We can go to the 1972 when we tried to do a major air assault into Laos out of South Vietnam. Ask the American helicopter forces that flew in the Vietnamese. We just got shot out of the sky. Go to the Gulf War 2003 when the 101st Airborne tried to send their Apaches into Karbala. Every single Apache came back with battle damage. This is the reality of it. These guys just don't know what they're talking about. I want to remind them Iran won the war because we weren't able to do this. And nothing's changed. It's only gotten worse for us. So, no, there's no all-out war plan. This is a lie being told by the administration to a compliant Wall Street Journal. There was no such briefing, because there can be no such briefing, because it's fiction. There is no all-out war plan because we lack the capacity to wage all-out war against Iran. That's a statement of fact. You're talking to somebody who's actually done a plan to invade Iran in 1985. I know what it takes. And that was Iran that wasn't anywhere near what they are today. So, I can't even say with all due respect to Kellogg and King, because I have no respect for these two men. They're pure propagandists, pure pro-Trump propagandists who are lying to the American people. And in doing so, they're weakening American democracy, because a key aspect of American democracy is for the American citizen to hold his or her elected officials accountable for what they do in their name. In order to do that, we have to be an informed electorate. It's the duty and responsibility of government to be accurate in their description of problems to the American people. The government, after all, works for the American people. It doesn't work the other way around. The American people are not the employees of the U.S. government. The U.S. government works for us, therefore they're accountable to us. They must tell us the truth about what they're doing. And what we have right now is the government lying to the American people, using the media to facilitate this lie so the American people don't ask the right questions. There's a midterm election coming up, and Donald Trump wants the American people as ignorant, stupid, ill-informed as possible so that they don't hold him to account. Because if they do, he'll lose the House, he'll lose the Senate, he'll spend the rest of his term being impeached. Play the J.D. Vance clip where he says that. Where he says Donald Trump's going to get impeached. if he loses the midterm elections. Donald Trump's going to lose the midterm elections because he just blew it. He doesn't understand. See, he's a scam artist. He's a grifter. Recharging the fuel tanks doesn't solve anything. Donnie, baby, the fuel tanks were full when you started this war. And then the Iranians cut off the Strait of Hormuz, and they weren't full anymore. All you're doing is just playing stupid games. If you go to all-out war, you're not going to recapture the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz will be closed, and we're going to go back down to empty. The American people should be smart enough to see this and understand this.